Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin, joined today by producer Kade Orris here at Bolin Media Studios in Austin, Texas. Kade, how are we feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Pretty good. I had therapy on Monday, which kind of makes my week a little bit better, like talking through some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I just have a better outlook on life after going to therapy. So I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Feel like the weight on your shoulders has been lessened?
Yes, absolutely.
That's good. I'm feeling fresh myself. I got a haircut yesterday, but I'm in that weird right after a haircut phase where I can't make it look good yet, So I'm wearing a hat. You know how it takes a couple days for a fresh fade to really take shape and look sharp? That's where I'm at. Kade, where do you get your haircut?
So usually, I've been growing the lettuce out for a while now.
Yeah, you've got the hockey flow going.
And so usually, whenever I go back home is when I'll get my haircut, and that's usually like months in between. So
you don't have a haircut place in Austin?
No, well,
I've been here for over a year.
Yeah, but I'm actually going to, for the first time this weekend, I'm going to a place in Austin to get my haircut.
Okay.
So I'm very
Where are you going?
It's like some salon in Westlake. I've never been before.
How'd you find out about it?
I went on a date with this girl, and she told me she's like a manager at like a couple of them, and she told me to go to that one.
Okay.
But granted, we never went on a second date, so but no, at least I got a potentially new place to get my haircut at.
Is this the one she's a manager at?
Yeah, like one of them. So
like maybe she'll be there. This will be your chance to reconnect.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But
what do you like? Okay, so let's just take it back to the last time you got a haircut. What do you tell the person when you go in for them to cut your hair?
I just tell them to get me right, because I don't really know shit about hair. Like I don't know like what I'm supposed to tell them. Like they're the professional, they should know. But like
yeah, but so they ask you like, all right, so what are we doing today? And you say, just get me right.
Yeah, basically. Or like I've shown them a picture from like when I thought my hair looked good in the past, and like just go off that.
Like on your phone?
Yeah.
You pull up a photo of yourself?
Yep, exactly. But I mean, I trust them. Like the person I go to back in Indiana,
You've been going there for a while?
Yeah, so she kind of knows.
Yeah. I mean, once you've got your hair cutter, like the person who, I don't know what you're supposed to call them. Barber? Hairstylist, whatever. Hairstylist just makes it sound a lot more intense than it actually is for you and I. Like
right.
For, like women or people with really long hair, you got a hairstylist because your hair needs to be styled. I don't think that's really what's happening with you and me. I think it's barber, maybe. I don't know though, because like barber feels like there's sex attached to it. Not like intercourse, but like.
Yeah, like barber, I think of like
guys. Like an old burly man.
Yeah.
Cutting my hair at that point. I'm just gonna call it a hair cutter. But once you've had one for a while, they know what they're doing with you, right? They kind of know your style or what you're going for. You know how to communicate with each other or whatever. And as I've said on the show before, like up until I found my hair cutter that I've been going to for like 5 years now, I never knew what to say. Like I basically did what you do, just get me right. Sometimes I'd be like, just don't make me look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
And they never knew how to handle that. So like whenever I'd be going to like great clips and shit, like, just like bunk ass barbers back in the day when I was a little kid and into my 20s, they would just like give me the worst fucking haircuts, man. I had terrible haircuts until I found my girl that does my hair cutting now. So like I said, I've been going there for like 5 years. So we know each other like pretty damn well. And we end up talking the entire time she's cutting my hair, just catching up on each other's lives. We both have, she's got like a 1-year-old. I've got a newborn. But yesterday, it occurred to me like, damn, we've been talking nonstop for 20 minutes. Are you focused on cutting my shit right? Like, because I come in and I told her, like, I want to leave it a little bit, like, I like the length up top. And in hindsight, I should have also communicated, like, I like the fullness up top. Like, I didn't want her to fuck with the top too much, and I wanted her to, like, clean up the sides.
Can you take out the hat? Can we see it?
Yeah, no, it's a good haircut. It's a normal haircut.
Solid, yeah.
She didn't, like, jack me up or anything like that. It's just that I didn't take a shower this morning because I took one last night. And if I don't take a shower, like, I can't really get my hair back to normal. Like it's all sticking up and shit in the back. I can't, like, so I'm wearing a hat. But we're talking the entire time, and I'm like watching in the mirror, and I realized like 20 minutes in towards the very end, like, shit, I haven't really been paying attention because we've been talking. Like, has she been paying attention? Or do I need to like be coming in here and saying, yeah, sorry, I'm super sleepy today, and just not talking so that she can focus on making sure my lettuce looks right? Because that's why I'm there. Like, I don't know, it's a conundrum because I enjoy our chats. Like, I like catching up. She's cool. I like her. I would consider her like a friend on some level, even though she's just my hair cutter. But I am there for the haircut. Like, I already got a therapist I see once a week, and I talk into a microphone for a living. So I'm not really looking for more people to talk to, but I do need someone to cut my hair correctly, especially now that we're on camera and shit. Like,
yeah, you gotta make sure we're looking.
I want to look good,
looking our best. Yeah,
they're spraying my face out all over fucking TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and I don't want to look like a jackass, and I also don't want to have to wear a hat all the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm taking the easy way out when I wear a hat on the show. But it is difficult to get your hair looking good. So anyway, it's almost like at the dentist when the hygienist is talking up a storm while cleaning my teeth, and I question whether or not they are focused on doing a good job. The difference being that I don't have their hand and a sharp tool in my mouth when I'm getting my hair cut, obviously. It's just a sharp tool being used on my head. But the concept remains the same. That always pisses me off at the dentist, by the way.
When they try to talk to you, but they have stuff in your mouth. Yeah.
It has to be a power trip thing. Like, I know this fucker can't even respond. I can just say anything right now. Got a damn scalpel in their mouth. Yeah. I don't like
making
that.
My gums bleed and shit.
My old dentist, man, it would take like, she was a great dentist. Let me just say that up front. Love her. Awesome lady. But a trip to the dentist, it's about 45 minutes to an hour to get a regular teeth cleaning. What is it, twice a year you're supposed to go or whatever. Get your teeth cleaned. You're there for 45 minutes, an hour, and you're out. This lady, it was never shorter than like 2.5 hours. I mean, she would talk the whole time.
That would drive me nuts. I'm trying to get in and out of the dentist.
There's a reason she's my old dentist and not my current dentist, because it was seriously like I'd have to block off an afternoon. And I enjoyed, again, just like with the hair cutter, I enjoyed our little chats, except at the fucking dentist, I couldn't even participate in them 75% of the time because it's my teeth inside of my mouth, which is what I use to speak, that she's working on. So it always was mind-boggling to me. Like, what do you think? I can't like talk out of my ear. I don't understand what you're expecting from me. I'm giving those like half-ass, like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, I know, yeah, that's how it is for me too. Like, that's not, come on, don't make me do this. Why are you making me do this? I don't like this. Always fucked with me, man. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a good haircut, all in all. Got what I needed, but I just felt like, had I been locked in on the haircut, had she been locked in on the haircut, maybe there would still be more up top for me today. I'd be a little more full, perhaps wouldn't have to wear the hat. But I'll be back in like a week.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see like how my haircut appointment goes, see how much of a talker he is.
Well, you need to come up with a game plan. I mean, I guess showing him a picture of yourself is fine, but like you gotta have some amount of information you can give this person. When you roll in for the first time, new person, they're gonna say like, "What do you want?" You can't just be like, "Get me right." Well, you're gonna leave with a fucking faux hawk or something that you didn't even ask for. And you got a lot of lettuce to work with. Like, they could do anything.
Right.
You don't know.
I'll probably just take off like an inch or two. See, I don't know. Like, it's pretty long.
Now. You don't know how much that is. Either. Yeah. Neither do I.
So I don't know.
I would tell him, like, if it was me and I wasn't looking to make a big change, like, just clean it up.
Yeah.
I just say
to clean it up. Yeah. Most of it, but get
me right, dog.
I just need an inch or two taken off as well.
Get me right. Anyway, one of my followers on Twitter, this dude named Ian, asked me a good "Would you rather" this morning, and I would like to address that today. He asked, "Would you rather have the ability to know what your dogs are thinking, or the ability to know what your baby is thinking?" And as a massive dog lover, anyone who knows me is aware that I'm a big dog guy. Big dog guy. Got 4 dogs at home, 2 in the studio with us every time we record, Bruce and Bella. are in here today in the corner, sleeping in their bed. So I have considered the question of what it would be like to know what my dogs are thinking so much to the point that I feel like I kind of do know what they're thinking, at least like 50% of the time. The baby, though, I have no idea what this little dude is thinking. So for me, the answer is easy. I'd much rather know what the baby is thinking. And frankly, also because the baby is a human being, it probably is a little more entertaining. It would be more entertaining to know what he's got going on than the canines, which I feel like their lives are pretty straightforward. But the little dude will be asleep at night and just like burst out laughing in his sleep. And I want to know what the fuck he's laughing at. Like, he hasn't even seen anything funny in his life yet. What the hell is he laughing at? Probably my face, I guess, which feels like insulting on some level. I mean, the dogs are usually thinking about like how they can get food or crumbs from my food or where the best spot to take a nap is or where I'm going when I stand up from my seat or what I'm talking about when I say shit. You know how they like tilt their head at you like, what? But I have no idea what a newborn baby is thinking. Like, it makes me wonder, like, what does he think is happening when he shits his pants? Because it's like a violent bowel movement every single time. Like, it's never just like, it's never a surprise. I never open up his diaper like, oh, wow, you took a shit.
Is it still like the black tar?
No, that's only the first 2 times.
Okay.
You get that weird alien black goo. Now it's like, it's basically like when you get diarrhea. Like, it's real runny. It's not solid turds, so it's like extremely runny because he lives on an all milk diet. Like, that's it. He's not eating fucking, you know.
Well, once you go to like Gerber's or whatever, that's when you start to get the solid piss.
when they start having actual human, well, not human food. I guess the milk is the most human food there is, but because it's coming out of a human, literally. But whenever they switch it up to like solid foods, that's when you start getting solid shits. So right now it's just like these incredibly disturbing lakes of poo in his diaper. And it's never a surprise when I find one because I've heard it come out of him. And a lot of the time it'll be when I'm holding him that he takes a shit because I'll typically, like, after my wife feeds him, she'll like let me hold him for a little bit. And then as I'm holding him, all of a sudden he'll get his eyebrows get real red. And he starts like this like face that's like you can tell he's
making
just trying to get a shit out, and then it just explodes out of his ass, and it's hilariously loud. As I've said on the show before, like, that has continued on. Like, when he farts, it's very comically loud. When he shits, it's very comically loud. So like, I know it's there, but nobody has explained the concept of pooping to him. And even if they did, he wouldn't understand. So, like, he has no idea what's happening when he takes a shit. Like, it has to be the newborn equivalent of experiencing an earthquake for the first time. Like, what the fuck is that? But every time he poops. So, it just makes me, I would love to know what he's thinking. But if you've got a baby and dogs, let me know on Twitter at WRBolin. Jump into the conversation with Ian and I. Would you rather know what your dog is thinking? Or your baby. Speaking of dogs, today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs makes the most comfortable and versatile shorts, pants, and bathing suits in the entire world. I've been wearing Bird Dogs for several years now. They cannot be beaten. I wear them to sleep. I wear them to do yard work. I wear them to work out. Every single time I work out. I wear them to go swimming. I wear them to do everything. They fit great. They feel great. They look great. They're just great shorts. I'd argue the greatest shorts. And they even look great on my chicken leg having ass. Phenomenal shorts. I've got the Art Fart Knockers, Duffy the Vampire Slayers, Uncle Bucks, Teddy Rubskins. They've all got hilarious names. If you haven't picked up on that, Bird Dog shorts. I just got the Forest Pumps, Marco Pool Boys, Zero Dark 30s, and Tightwads in my latest box from Bird Dogs today, actually. If you want to look like money while you're working in the yard or swimming at the pool this summer, Bird Dogs are the move, and their pants are great for the golf course, the office, or going out to dinner or hitting the bars, #versatile. So click on the link in the description below or go to birddogs.com and enter code ROSS at checkout, and they will throw in a free Yeti-style tumbler with every order. That's birddogs.com, code ROSS, to make sure you look good all summer long, and you'll get a free Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Birddogs.com. Code Ross. So this Friday, my son RJ, speaking of him and his poops, will be 12 weeks old. So with basically 3 months of newborn parenting under my belt, I think I am finally in a place to share at least some of the experience with some degree of perspective so that it's worthwhile. Now, let me start before I begin the bitching by saying RJ is the cutest, happiest little boy, and I love him more than I can adequately put into words for you today. Being a dad is fucking awesome. My wife is an incredible mother, which makes it all the easier for me, and it's been an incredible experience so far, albeit an extremely challenging one. Newborn parenting is definitely not easy. I don't know if some people are stupid enough to expect it will be easy, but for anyone who doesn't have kids yet and plans to, you need to understand this shit is extremely hard work. Like, it takes a ton of dedication and concentration and sacrifice and requires you to surrender your own wants and needs on a daily basis to put the kids before yourself so that you can parent them properly. So I guess I'm saying, yeah, don't have kids unless you can handle all that, because we don't need more traumatized and broken human beings running around the earth. We have enough. So if you're not ready for that, or you don't ever want to be ready for that, maybe the whole kids thing isn't for you. I feel like some people have kids because they think it's going to be tight, and then it's not, and then they're just dog shit parents.
Or it'll save their marriage.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. That's bad. That's a very bad reason to have a child. So to get into my experience so far, first let's discuss the sleeping, which I feel like is everybody who wants to have kids and doesn't, like, big question. Like, just how bad is it going to be? And admittedly, it has not been great. But it is getting better. The first month was brutal. All the assholes who tell you, get your sleep now when you're pregnant, they're definitely correct. They're still assholes for giving the most obvious and unhelpful advice of all time, but they're not wrong. You do lack in sleep a great deal that first month. Babies eat every 2 to 3 hours for the first couple of months of their lives, and that includes at nighttime. Like, if you're lucky, by like month 3, month 4, they're sleeping through the night, and you don't have to worry about nighttime anymore. You get that consecutive sleep back in your life. But for the first month, 2 months, they eat every 2 to 3 hours, including at nighttime. And you're supposed to have their bassinet in your bedroom with you for at least the first several weeks. So when the baby wakes up to eat, everyone is waking up to eat, because typically the way the baby lets you know they're ready to eat is they wake up and they start crying, or, you know, like my wife gets up, turns on a light so she can see a little bit to be able to get him out of the bassinet and get him hooked up to her titties. So it's like it's bright, it's distracting, you're going to wake up. So it's like you're also in that mode as a newborn parent where every noise you hear wakes you up. Like, I've been a deep sleeper my whole life. Nothing fucked with me. Thunderstorms, fucking dogs barking, trains going by, shit didn't matter. I sleep through everything. I'm a brick when I'm asleep. But the second you've got like a baby that you're responsible for their livelihood, that shit goes out the window. Every little noise, like every noise they make, which I'll get to in a second, like you're awake. You're waking up. You're never deeply asleep because you're not sleeping more than 2 or 3 hours. You're not getting deep enough into your REM sleep every fucking night for months on end. So it's this light version of rest that you get. It probably shouldn't even be classified as sleep. It's just like the equivalent of laying there with your eyes closed and drifting off, but you're never that deeply asleep. So, they sleep in your room, so you wake up. But the upside of that would be, like the eating every 2 to 3 hours thing, would be that my wife's boobs, which were already lovely, are now a permanent fixture in my mind due to the breast milk that inhabits them. They're just, women who have had kids know your boobs get huge. They get huge. But then there's the downside that her boobs are for RJ right now and not so much for me. And also it's distracting thinking about your wife's giant tits all day. I'm a mess. Just a horny mess. Breast milk, you made my day. But I digress. The point is, you do really have to settle into not sleeping more than 2 or 3 hours at a time for the first couple of months. And that shit wears you down. Like the first 2 weeks, I was totally fine. I started talking my shit like, man, all these other parents are just soft. And then slowly but surely, it began to break me. And around the like 1 month mark, I was just a zombie, like barely there. Just really miserable for a few weeks there. And now I've sort of settled into zombie mode where I'm like, I'm productive at work again. And I still crash pretty hard in the afternoon where like, I'm like, damn, this is why they made those Red Bull commercials like that aim at, that's like, you got that 2 to 3 o'clock crash? Get yourself a fucking Red Bull. And I'm not doing that, but I have finally gotten to the place where I'm like, I'm getting shit done. But yeah, can I just say, if you're an employer and you employ someone who has a newborn at home, give that motherfucker a break for like 6 months. Like, I'm not saying give them off for 6 months. Like, we live in America where we don't have good leave for parents, typically.
Leave.
Maternity and paternity leave. It's usually not that great. But just for 6 months, like, don't judge their performance because they're running on fucking fumes. So if you're an employer and you don't have your own kids, so you don't understand that, or maybe it's been so long since you've had a newborn that you don't remember, like, this shit, your brain is fucked, man. It's not, you're not right in the head. You got dad brain, as I talked about with David Ruff several weeks ago. It's like it's basically like being, violently hungover at all times. Where you've got like 2 operational brain cells up there, just like desperately hacking away, trying to get your shit right. But it's hard, man. So yeah, you're running on fumes. Give people a break. But babies have these small wake windows. It's windows where they are awake, Kade. For the first few months of their lives, they're not really supposed to be awake more than like an hour, hour and a half. And that includes the time that it takes for them to eat, which is usually at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And when they're first born, before they've really gotten used to it, it can be up to like 30, 45 minutes. And that's so hour and a half, they're supposed to be awake, and then they're back to sleep. That's it. Like, they're not awake that much. Like, you imagine as a non-parent like I did, that when you have a baby, you'll get to be like playing with them all the time and shit. Like, that is not the case at all. And managing these wake windows is fucking crazy. Like, this is the thing that eats up all of my wife's time, and sometimes mine when I'm able to help out more. Because all day, every day, it's eating, then sleeping, then eating, then sleeping with like some pooping and peeing in between. And they cannot do any of this by themselves, the babies, obviously. So it's legitimately a full-time job. Again, I'm super thankful for my wife being an amazing mother, because it's like, just like the days that I get to work from home the whole day because we don't have a recording or whatever, I see the amount of work that goes into what she has to do, and I'm just like, dear God, it's an insane amount of dedication to be like a great mom to a newborn baby. It really is. And you don't get to play with the newborns much, man. Like, they don't do much yet. Like, RJ is at the point now where he'll smile and kind of laugh at me, and he'll like grab a toy and hold it and stuff like that, which is fucking amazing. It's the best. But in terms of playing with a baby, there's not much to do when they're just a couple months old, other than like make funny faces at them and noises and do baby talk and shit like that. They're not capable. Like, once he gets a little more coordinated and is crawling and eventually walking and shit, that'll change. But for now, I just basically like hold him, and he stares at me, and he makes noises and I make noises, and then he gets taken to go back to sleep, and that's it. Or like, I'll go put him to sleep. And I'll say this, getting the kid to sleep in a timely fashion is like the biggest win I can experience in my life right now. It's amazing. I'll get to that though. But making him smile is legitimately the best. It's like the feeling I get from crushing a really good joke on the show times 1 billion. Like, when I make him smile, or when I successfully put him down for a nap in less than 15 minutes because I timed his wake window perfectly. It's like, it's so much easier to get him to sleep when you time it right. When you, like, okay, he's been up for an hour, I just saw 1 yawn, like, now's the time to go put him down. Versus if you go too soon or too late, if they get overtired or they're not tired yet, it can take fucking forever to get them down. So when you do it the right way, it legitimately feels like winning the Super Bowl or some shit. It's the best. But like I said earlier, he makes all kinds of crazy noises now. Like, shit, that has been very surprising to me, how capable of noise making this little, like, I think he weighs like 12 pounds, little baby is able to produce crazy noises. Like, I'll be asleep in my bed, and he will be in his snoo, which is this badass bassinet that rocks the baby. It rocks him in there, and it has a sound machine in it. and it can sense when he's starting to get fussy or wake up and get loud, and it like ups the amount of noise. It's basically the Japanese toilet of bassinets.
Does it wipe his ass for him too?
No, I got to do that, unfortunately. And it's not the easiest, like, right? Like this morning, he shit like all over his, like up to his belly button, like all over his dick and balls, just poo everywhere, man. And you got to get it all off because you don't want your kid walking around with poop dick. It's not what he wants, you know? So I'll be asleep and he'll be in his bassinet and I'll just wake up to the sound of like a baby dinosaur. He's like, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Which is, like I said, one of the reasons you don't get too much sleep. He's in there dreaming about God knows what. That's what I don't understand. Like what does he even have to dream about aside from like titties and two faces? That's it. But there's lots of cooing. He makes all these cute little noises and he's drooling a lot now. He's gotten to that phase where if I'm holding him, I'm covered in drool. Spit and drool. He's just all over the place. But all in all, the baby is doing great. His big sister is adjusting well, too. I love seeing her hold him or hold his hand. It's fucking best. But, one more thing. If you already have one kid and you are considering a second, the jump between one kid to two kids is fucking insane, especially with a newborn. Like, my stepdaughter goes to her dad's sometimes for a few days or whatever. And the analogy I would use is it's like when you're in the on-deck circle in baseball and you're swinging your bat with one of those donuts on it, right? Like the big donut on your bat that you slide on there, the weighted thing that makes the bat weigh more so that when you take it off, the bat is lighter and easier to swing when you're at the plate, right? Like that's the situation I have going on at home. Like when we have both kids, it is so ridiculous and difficult that when we only have one, it seems insanely easy by comparison. And I love my stepdaughter the same way I love my son. I'm not saying I would trade her for anything in the world, but I am saying the jump from one kid to two kids, it's a totally different fucking ball game. There are not enough hours in the day. There are not enough parents in the house. And by the time me and my wife get to our bedroom every night, like on the weeks that we have both kids, we are dead to the world. Like it is fucking over. It is sleepy time. Like it's so alarming, like the difference between having one, because when you have one, you're both able to like sort of divide and conquer. Like, all right, you feed, okay, I'll do the diaper, all right, I'll put him down for this nap, all right, you put him down for that nap. Like you can kind of switch off, and when one of you gets burnt out or whatever, there's like a way to you tag team that shit. But when you've got both of them, like you're done, it's over. It's just crazy. Like I have friends who have 3 kids who have told me like the jump from 2 to 3 is not that big of a deal because at that point you're kind of just like, fuck it, what's another one? But from 1 to 2, it's life-changing. It is equally, if not more insane than like when you have your first kid, which I just have this like unique perspective on that, like having a stepdaughter and having times where we only have the baby and having times where we have both kids is fucking nuts. But now I look at my friends with multiple kids and even more so their wives through a totally different lens, like almost with the respect I look at combat veterans. Like, damn, you've been through some fucked up, serious shit, and you survived. You are brave and strong. So all in all, RJ is happy and healthy. I feel like things are going really well based on just that information alone. I would say I can't complain, but I can, so I will. And the next step is paying off these outrageous fucking hospital bills. I can't believe how, like, we have good insurance. Like, it wasn't that bad compared to some people I know. But it's crazy how many thousands of dollars it costs to just even get the baby out. And so figuring out paying that shit and figuring out how to budget for a baby, because I haven't really done that yet, mostly out of fear.
Hearing you say all this makes me so glad that I don't have a baby, or at least one that I know of.
Yeah, I remember that feeling.
So yeah, gonna hold off on a while.
Dude, I'm 35. You got a full decade if you wanted to go at my pace before you have to worry about this.
But it's crazy. Like people my age are like popping out babies now. I'm just like,
dude, that's another thing. Like I had friends who had multiple kids straight out of school, like in their early 20s, where I was like, what the fuck? I mean, everybody moves at their own pace. Life is funny like that. Like all the humans are equipped for different things at different times. But I don't understand how they pulled that off. Like in my late 20s, I was not equipped to raise a child or like to be doing any level of parenting. I mean, I probably was on some level. I'm not giving myself very much credit, but like just in general, I was not even close to ready for that. That was an insane idea to me, and I didn't understand how people pulled it off. I still feel that way sometimes, but like not so much about me being ready for it as I question like how people pull this off forever or like long term. Like it's like there's no pause, there's no vacation from this. You get overwhelmed. There's not like a thing you can. It's the baby is there all of the time. Like we went to dinner. We had our anniversary earlier this week, my wife and I, on Monday, and we went out to dinner. So we got like a sitter for the first time. It's like even to leave the house for like 2 hours, which we didn't even make it the whole time because at some point we checked the baby monitor and he had woken up. So like we were like, oh fuck it, let's get a to-go bag and we'll just leave. We had a good time. We were there long enough for it to be very enjoyable, but like to even get out the house for a little bit is you have to hire a human to come and watch your baby human, which it's just more money, and you got to find somebody you trust. There's like a whole nother level of anxiety to it. Like it's just I've left the baby a whole bunch. I know it doesn't sound good when I say it like that, but like to come to work, I don't bring the baby with me. My wife, this was the first time she had left him for more than like an hour. Like I'll take care of him every once in a while for a little bit while she goes and runs errands or whatever. But this was the first time she was out of the house without him, and it was like really weird for her. It's like a totally like your mom brain can't like fully separate the fucking going on a date with like the fact that there's this newborn at home that you have to take care of. So you're not alone, kid, in feeling like there's no fucking way I could do that.
Yeah, just going to keep wearing a condom or just make sure I pull out on time.
That's a good idea, Kade. It's a good idea. Speaking of the financial side of things, today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket Money. If you're like me and always looking for a way to manage your budget better and save money, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It also monitors your spending and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forget about, like that streaming service you signed up for just to watch one show on, or that free trial that you never even used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. They make canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button at Rocket Money. Simply find the subscription you don't want. You press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. I can't tell you how much money I have wasted over the years on unwanted subscriptions. I've told the Xbox story before. I had Xbox Live for like 4 years past when I didn't even have an Xbox anymore. But this has happened with me several times with streaming services where I'm like, ooh, I want to watch this one show and it's available on this one platform I don't have. I'll just sign up for it, watch that show, and then cancel it when I'm done, but I forget. That's why Rocket Money exists. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/RBP. That's rocketmoney.com/RBP, ROCKET money.com/RBP. Now, I'm going to share with you the most recent column I wrote for my newsletter, my new newsletter, the Ross Bolin newsletter, which you can sign up for at rossbolin.substack, SUBSTACK, substack.com, to get my shit right in your inbox every time I publish something. This column is titled, Who Am I? And I will now read it in full. Once upon a time, I was a noteworthy celebrity of class and culture. I was a New York Times bestselling author with a blue check mark beside my name on Twitter, confirming to the world that I was elite and accomplished. My earned, not bought, verification communicated to lesser mortals that my rage tweets during sporting events and tweets composed entirely of rap lyrics were to be respected and regarded as art. Men would buy me drinks in bars, and women would throw themselves at me like snowballs. I was a star. I was the man. But now I'm not sure who I am. Last week, I was stripped of a paramount piece of my self-worth. The blue check mark on Twitter was taken from me. What was once verified, My identity is no longer. I might as well burn my driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, and self alive, because the Ross Bolin that existed just a few days ago is dead and gone. I no longer identify as myself. I identify as nothing. Am I still technically a New York Times bestselling author? Does anyone even see my hilarious tweets now? Will my son still recognize me as his father? Perhaps time will tell. Much remains to be seen. For now, all I can do is keep my chin up, force a smile knowing my ambition far exceeded my talent, and step by step continue walking aimlessly through yet another hour of this unverified life. There are no more white horses or pretty ladies at my door. One day at a time, I tell myself. But I don't recognize the face I see in the mirror. The face that once smiled back at me as if to say, "You are one handsome Twitter-verified son of a bitch," is missing. In its place, I see an aging douchebag with no checkmark next to his head. The younger, better-looking, more successful Ross you once knew was murdered by a bitter billionaire man-boy whose rocket ship exploded shortly after takeoff. Very unfair. When I woke up this morning, for a few fleeting seconds before I remembered I was robbed of my precious, I felt happiness. Then it came sweeping over me like a tsunami of shame that I am an unverified man with no weight to my name. My life is a lie, and the status as internet nobility which once came with my Twitter handle has been forsaken. I feel like a laughingstock of polite society. Lost. Afraid. Alone. Betrayed. Perhaps my time is over, and I should wander the wilderness until buzzards peck my eyes from their sockets and worms take me home to the dirt from whence I came. At least then, I would serve a purpose as buzzard food and fertilizer. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you left them. Where's my applause button? Damn it. Kade, clap. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Here we go. There it is. I found it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you would like to receive humorous columns like that one from me in your email inbox, go to rossbolin.substack.com and enter your email today. It is as simple as that. That column was free. Every single person who was signed up, whether you're a paying subscriber or not, got it in their email inbox, rossbolin.substack.com. I will also be writing about other topics, some of them serious on occasion, like sports, mental health, parenthood, and pop culture. But for the most part, I'm trying to keep things light, do some humor columns when I've got the time. I'm doing at least one free column a week and one paid column a week. So you'll get at least one email a week from me in your inbox with something good to read if you go to rossbolin.substack.com. Kade, I noticed you haven't been writing as much lately. Do you have like some writer's block going on?
Yeah, a little bit. I have one column that is pretty much written, but I haven't posted it yet. It's about some of the things that DJs do that really grinds my gears.
You fucking hate DJs, man.
They suck here in Austin, and I'm sure in a lot of other places too, but I've been working on that for a while. I thought about doing one about like dating and 2023 and just how much of a shit show it is.
I would read that.
And then like I used to write about like the Marvel movies and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They've all been shit. So, but maybe I write one about like why they're shit now and like what they could do to fix it. I don't know. But yeah, definitely some writer's block.
It happens. It's hard to know what to write about sometimes, for sure. Like I usually when I get to a place where I'm like, all right, I want to write a column today. I've got some time, or like I want to write for the show. I need to do an episode. Like, even if I have nothing off the top, if I sit with it for like a half hour and just jot down ideas, like one of them eventually hits. Like one of them will, I'm like, oh, that's something I could, you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to just like be willing to sit there like, all right, what is interesting and worthy of writing about to me? And then make a list, sort of, is the way I do it. But I mean, it is crazy how much writing helps me slow down my psychotic scatterbrain. Like it's almost therapeutic, and that's the reason that I'm so excited to get back into it and to be writing more, and to have a place that makes sense to put these things that I'm writing, because it genuinely helps me out. Like that's like I think it's just one of those things that I was meant to do. The kind of person I am, the way my brain works, it gives me an outlet, and turns out I need several outlets: a therapist, a hair cutter, podcasts with an S on the end, and I also need to be writing too, or else shit just gets jammed up inside of my brain. But yeah, speaking of therapeutic, today's episode is also brought to you by Talkspace. You know how it feels good to declutter and clean your home? Sometimes I put it off, things get messy, and I feel bogged down in my own house as a result. But when I finally get everything cleaned up, I feel so much better, so renewed. It's the same way with my mind and emotions. Talking to a therapist from Talkspace will help declutter your mind, and you'll get that same renewed feeling deep down. I always feel so much more clear-headed and calm after therapy. Talkspace is a new, more convenient way to find a therapist and to meet with them. Everything is done online. You find the therapist you feel closest to, you meet virtually, whether you're most comfortable doing it in your, living room on your couch, or you've got an office space at home where you can do it, or whatever. You do it in bed if you want to. Wherever you're most comfortable on your schedule, so there's no missed work or scheduling childcare for an appointment. It's therapy designed for your life. I've been in therapy for like over a decade now. I can't more highly recommend it, but I understand it can be daunting getting started. Getting started is way less daunting with Talkspace. They make connecting with a licensed therapist easy, so you can stop setting aside your own mental well-being. I wholeheartedly recommend Talkspace for therapy. You can sign up online and get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically within 48 hours. You can text, video, or send voice messages to your licensed therapist, so it's incredibly convenient to have virtual sessions from the comfort of your home. If you're looking to renew and rejuvenate your life, look to Talkspace. And now, get $100 off your first month when you go to Talkspace.com/RBP to match with your dedicated therapist. Go to Talkspace.com/RBP now to get $100 off. That's Talkspace.com/RBP. So Netflix has a new hit on their hands in the form of the show Beef. Like every so often, a really good show will basically go viral because so many people are talking about it and how insane it is and tweeting about it and talking about it at dinners with their friends or whatever. Like that is definitely the case with this show, Beef, starring Ali Wong and Steve Ewan from, you may know him from like The Walking Dead is the only other thing I've ever seen.
He's also in I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he used to solve a slice.
Yeah, wow. That's fucking crazy. I did not put that together when I saw that episode. But for those of you who are longtime listeners of the show, you'll remember me very specifically telling you to never flick anyone off in traffic. Do not shoot the bird. Do not put your middle finger up. Never honk at anyone, ever. Because you never know what kind of psycho is in the driver's seat of that other death machine. And Netflix's Beef is basically the reason why I have always argued this shit. So without getting into spoilers, I'll just say the premise for the show is two people get involved in a road rage incident that begins a beef that basically takes over their entire lives. It's fucking insane. It is hilarious. It's deeply disturbing. It's real dark comedy type shit. But I finished season 1 last night, and it is definitely 100% worth watching. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like 30-minute episodes. There's 10 of them, so you can kind of fly through it if you want. Obviously, Netflix specializes in the binge model, so the whole thing is available or whatever. You don't have to wait a week. Like I recommended it to Kade, I think last week, and he crushed it already. You're done with it, right?
Yeah, I'm
all the way
now.
finished.
Yep.
How long did it take you to watch it?
2 days. So this has been on my radar for a couple of weeks now. Like
it started popping off of like probably a week before I started watching it.
Yeah, and so I wanted to watch it at some point, but I had to finish up Breaking Bad. Got done with that this past weekend, and then Monday and Tuesday I will finish the whole series.
Yeah, I mean it's like I think it's like, let me think, it's a little over 30 minutes per episode. I think so. It's like over 5 hours. Probably, I think.
Yeah,
less than 2 Martin Scorsese movies worth of content. But what did you think of it? No spoilers, obviously.
I mean, yeah, no, I thought it was really good. Towards the middle, I was kind of like, wondering like where is this going? Like what's the end result of this?
Yeah.
And then like the last 2 episodes, especially, like, oh wow, it really pays off in the end.
Yeah, I was suspicious. I kind of had an idea in the first episode of like where things might end up, but I didn't know how we were going to spend 9 more episodes getting there. And the thing that this show did really well that I was like, God damn, this is fucking nuts, is it keeps finding a way to escalate things. Like just when you think things can't get any worse, they somehow do. And that was like the fun of Beef, is just watching this entire situation just completely derail so like harder than you could possibly imagine. It was really fun.
But yeah, no, it definitely, like, you have to watch this and be like, I'm never reacting to like anyone's road rage, or like I'm not gonna start any shit with anyone in their vehicle. Like,
dude, you never know what the other person is going through. Gotta be careful.
Exactly. And like both these people are going through some different shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's one way of putting it. They definitely are. But Beef on Netflix, super fun. If you've seen people talking about it and you needed like one last push or nudge to actually get in there and watch it, it is definitely worth it. A lot of fun, very original sort of concept and idea, great execution, great acting, especially out of the 2 leads, but really well written, really funny, really dark, really humorous, great stuff. I mean, we cover, TV shows typically on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, where we are covering Succession right now. That's our TV podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, which started as a Game of Thrones show. But with like Netflix shit, man, it doesn't. We pick one show at a time to cover. So like we're doing Succession right now. There's not like a way for me to do Netflix shit because they drop it all at once, and it doesn't work for the podcast the same way. Like you need to be able to do it episodically, week by week, for a podcast to function properly. And that's why we do Succession and HBO shows typically, because that's the model that they use. So we did like House of the Dragon week by week. We did The White Lotus season 2 week by week. We did The Last of Us, and now we're doing Succession. And I think this will end on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, like our consecutive run, where all of these shows have been back to back, and it's been fucking chaos trying to manage it all. I don't think there's a show coming on right after Succession that will require us to cover it, but I'm not totally sure. I need to look into that. But anyway, the point is that's why I was talking about Beef on here today. I wanted to get at least a little bit in. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, if you haven't seen it, because I think it's really worth watching. So go enjoy that. And now I can't end today's show without celebrating the ousting of Tucker Carlson from Fox News. And I would remind you up front, before you get upset, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I am just a dude who loves America and does not like people who damage or put the country in danger for their own personal gain, which is exactly what Tucker Carlson has been doing at Fox News for years, probably to a greater extent than anyone in the history of mainstream news media. The dude is a conspiracy theory wielding monster person who, for the sake of his own ratings and financial gain, will say almost anything, as we have learned over the last 4 years in particular. And the fact that Fox decided to part ways with him is the first sign to me that our republic might be salvageable after all. I don't know if you've noticed, but things haven't been in a great spot for several years now. And it is no coincidence, obviously, that this news comes just a week or so after Fox News' nearly $1 billion settlement with Dominion Voting Systems, much of which was based around on-air accusations hurled by Tucker Carlson as he looked to cast doubt on the results of the 2020 election. And that lawsuit unearthed text messages and communications from people internally at Fox, including Tucker, that showed they were completely full of shit. Like, they didn't even believe their own lies. And in the case of Tucker, he actually hated President Trump, furthering the notion that very little news was actually being done at Fox. It's mostly manipulation and political brainwashing for the sake of ratings and advertising dollars. That seemed to be their focus. And I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, but, there's some other great option. Like, CNN is a lot of trash too a lot of the time. I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying MSNBC. Like, we don't have good media options in the United States right now. That is a problem across the board. But as somebody who definitely considers themselves to be an independent, it was hard to find someone more at fault over the past several years than Fox News. And in particular, this dickhead, Tucker Carlson. So it's fucking hard not to celebrate shit falling apart over there because, frankly, fuck those people. Fuck Tucker Carlson. And he might eventually be back in some point, some form or fashion. I'm sure he will, but he will never have the kind of power he did with this show at Fox News. And in my personal belief, that is a great thing for all Americans, no matter where you align, if you align with one of the major two political parties or not. This dude was just bad for all of us.
How long before he starts his own podcast, you think?
I mean, I'm sure he's probably got it up and running already, but apparently Fox has a pretty hardcore non-compete. I would also note CNN parted ways with Don Lemon on the same day, which did not feel like a coincidence. Like, it almost felt like a trade. Like, Fox was like, look, we'll get rid of our main toxic douchebag if you get rid of one of yours in the name of saving democracy, which is a great trade, in my opinion. Like, neither of those dudes was doing anything that I think can be rightly considered journalism. And that's what the news is supposed to be about. News, not opinionated muckraking for the sake of money. But those two dudes both hired the same high-powered Hollywood attorney to represent them in their parting of ways from Fox News and CNN, respectively. So apparently, at least Fox has a pretty hardcore non-compete where you can't just like go work for another network immediately. Like they've got, it's like 2 years before you can do that or whatever. But I'm sure they'll use these attorneys to get out of that. He'll end up somewhere. Like somebody will throw a boatload of money at him and he'll be on some fucking network that's, probably catering even more deeply to the alt-right conspiracy theory nonsense that he dabbles in. But it won't be the same though. Like, look, the thing that was bad about him is he had access to like our parents' generation, basically. People who grew up where what they told you on the news was real. So if you suddenly just broke from that and you're an asshole like Tucker and you were like, fuck, I can say anything and these people will believe me, and then they'll tune in every night to hear what I've got, like that's been not great for us as a country. So his downfall there is great for us. That dude sucked. And apparently, according to Rolling Stone, Fox News executives have in their possession a dossier of alleged dirt on Tucker Carlson should he attack the network in the wake of his departure. They have 8 sources Rolling Stone got that are at the network and close to the network that apparently have said outright, like, yeah, look, they've been looking to figure out a way out of this for a while. So they've got all this dirt, all this information on Tucker so that just in case when they do part ways, he goes ape shit and starts like bashing the fucking network, that they have like a file of information on it. It sounds like blackmail, like corporate blackmail, but I just found that to be an interesting piece of the information there. So yeah, hopefully this is a sign that we're turning over a new leaf in this country as far as the media goes, but somehow I doubt it. Fingers crossed, regardless. But that guy sucked.
Yeah, I don't know much about Don Lemon, but I'm very glad to see Tucker Carlson off the news. I couldn't stand his takes.
Lemon isn't great.
I figured as much, but yeah.
He's not Tucker, but not great. Not great. Yeah. So he's not he's he was at CNN for like 17 years, but is it like one of these dudes that started his career in a normal place and just slowly but surely just fucking veered off the map for the sake of, again, ratings and popularity and the ability to manipulate an audience, which is not what that job is about. If you want to do that, go do what Andrew Tate is doing, man. Like, start your own website and charge people to join your fucking, what is it called? Your war room. You can't be on Fox or CNN. People are supposed to be able to watch these channels and get real information, not dog shit conspiracy theories and personal pandering and fucking extremely stilted, I'm doing air quotes here, journalism. Like, that's not what it's about. So anyway, good news for us as a country. USA, USA, USA. Happy 1-year anniversary to my wife. I told her this yesterday, but I'm pretty sure I learned more about my life and myself in 1 year with her than I could have in several lifetimes with anyone else. Thank you for being my light. And that will do it for today's show, but please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes. That is how we pay the bills here at Bolin Media. You can find the links to all of today's sponsors in the description below this episode. To check out our other shows, go to bolinmedia.com. We've got Jared's F1 show, Formula Bone. Been crushing the first several races of the F1 season.
Finally got a race this week. It's been like almost a month now with that one.
Yeah, they took a lot of time off here.
So excited to get back into it.
What do we have this weekend?
Oh, I have no idea where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Google it. F1 race this weekend. This is how I do my job. What is it? April? Oh, this is super unhelpful. Baku City Circuit? Baku,
yeah.
Azerbaijan GP.
There it is.
Was the most recent one the Australian GP?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is right.
Okay.
Azerbaijan. All right. Yeah, Jared doing the F1 show. Formula Bone. YouTube.com/@FormulaBone and @FormulaBone on all the social medias as well to keep up with J-Bone and his F1 coverage this season. As I said, we've got Oysters, Clams, and Cockles covering Succession's final season. We have episode 6, the back half of the final season of Succession, this Sunday, and our podcast will drop Monday, as it does every Monday, recapping, reviewing, and discussing what unfolds. Go to bolinmedia.com/shop to grab yourself some RBP merch. I also have my Houston sports show. If you're a Houston sports fan, as I am, check out Banging the Can on social media, @BangingTheCan, and also full episodes on youtube.com/@BangingTheCan. I most recently did one about how Astros fans are extremely fickle. We had like a slow start to this season, and people are freaking out, slamming on the panic button. We have a slow start every fucking year. We have for 4 consecutive years. This happens every season. It's so annoying. People are so fickle. But this week we've got a lot of other stuff to discuss as the Rockets hired their new head coach. The Texans have the NFL draft tomorrow, which they will undoubtedly fuck up in every imaginable way. And the Astros have continued playing in a good series right now against the Tampa Bay Rays, who are the hottest team in baseball. Yeah. Banging the Can. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram @WRBolinCade. Where can the people follow you?
You can follow me @Kade Orris on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok as well, and that's KADEORRIS.
Nice. This episode of the Ross Bolin podcast is presented by Bolin Media, and video of today's show was produced by the man whose voice you just heard, Kade Orris. Go to youtube.com/@the-Ross-Bolin podcast and subscribe for full video of every single episode of our show, plus very funny clips and shorter segments as well. We will be back Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolin podcast with another ad-free exclusive episode, just like we are every single week. Until next time, peace be with you and also with you.